Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Kyusho here, and now, before we do begin, let me go ahead and give a brief little review. In the last part, we had a number of events happening. Now, Deku, Marcy, and Chloe were still trying to adapt to being back inside their vaults. However, it was more challenging than they thought. This place has become completely foreign in operation to them. After fighting for their survival for nearly 2 years and fighting against the Enclave and the trials and tribulations they've had and the challenges, the struggles, it's been easy this last week. They've had full bellies, plenty of water, safety, and security. No one's bothered them, no one's tried to kill them, no one's attacked them, and they have not faced hostilities or things that would require planning, mental mind games, or bribing someone. This last week has been more peaceful than they've ever felt in their life. It's like being back before what happened to them. It was a bit strange. Deku was still trying to get his mind on straight when he talked to his sister Mia this morning. She was highly alarmed by his scars, and fact of the matter of how he was speaking. He wasn't cracking jokes, and he was telling her about the surface. She was hanging on every single word he was talking about. After she left, Deku had to go over the situation he found himself in. His mind tried to perceive her as a threat, and he was still trying to figure out what he wanted to do. He went to go see Overseer Burnett, a man in charge of the military operations for the branch Deku is in. He talked to the man about being in charge of the people who were experimented on the year after his, who were the next set of experiments the Enclave had to toy around with. The man, he did agree to Deku's terms, but he did also see how Deku's mindset was by asking him questions and even subtly trying to antagonize him. Deku, he doesn't want to speak about certain things in his records. That is understandable. However, what the man has already heard, it's not that good. The data and information requires much questioning. The Vault AI is also trying to catalog Deku. The Overseer agreed to let Deku be in charge of these people. They would be put under his care and he would be their superior officer. They'd be his responsibility. Deku would also be required to meet with a therapist. While they do have people locked in cryogenic hibernation, getting them out right now would probably be too chaotic for them to deal with. In time, they'll begin releasing people who have been put in cryo and working backwards. They still need to go over a lot of information. But first, they need to get established on the surface. Deku then went to go meet with these people. Well, the man, he was trying to put together a plan on how to deal with Deku, since he clearly shows signs of mental distress. And whenever a therapist tried to evaluate him later, they did confirm his signs of post-traumatic stress symptoms. Now, that post-traumatic stress disorder. Anyways, now, his symptoms of PTSD. I don't know why my brain did not want me to say that word. Anyways, now then. With that being said, people, they have been trying to deal with surface world protocols, getting established in the airport and cleaning things up after the battle. The Securitrons are still stationed at the airport and taking orders from the Vault members. They have also been trying to unravel the data they've gotten from the Enclave, release people who have been experimented on, and sort out the horror of this location. They recovered a set of power armor from a former Vault Dweller. They recovered Pit Boys. They recovered Vault Suits. They recovered firearms and small family trinkets, along with one of the 3 Garden of Eden creation kits they thought was lost. And that, while it is a valuable find, it does also reveal the horror of this location. Their people have been killed or put in hibernation, one of the two. And whenever they went to go dispose of the Enclave members after interrogations, they gave these people the same treatment they did to their people. Some people didn't like it, but that was the way things worked. The people who were experimented on were more than happy to get their payback. And right now, Deku, he does sit here. Someone is aware of how long he's been working out. The security guards have noticed his routine and have somewhat tried making bets on it. It's been 5 months. With the rule on regulation lifted, his hair has grown out, and he's been lifting. A lot. His therapist does say it's a good way to deal with the aggression he's still carrying. Challenging himself in battle is good. Yes, he does wish to push his physical limit, but he doesn't often need to do that in battle. He can try to test himself in another way, and that's what he's been doing. Deku, in his human form, at 6 foot tall, weighs 270 pounds. His muscle density is incredibly high, along with the fact that after doing x-rays on him and CT scans, they found multiple small fractures that have healed, along with various other injuries that have healed over time. But what's more is his skeletal structure being highly dense as well. He's a beast. But right now, after his training, he's become more than that. Right now, he is deadlifting, putting the weight over his head and then putting it behind his neck. His arms on the bar as he does get a squat. Him going to come back up, put the weight overhead, and then put it in front of him. Him going to lower it down with some strain, before he's going to tap it to the ground and then go to lift it back up and repeat this process. Right now, him with a lot still going through his mind. He's got a meeting with his therapist today. They are going to be talking in a group therapy session with the members that have all been cryogenically unfrozen. Chloe and Marcy are going to be there. They're going to have dinner tonight, and, well, things have been a little spicy lately, and he can't really complain. His life does feel good, but there is that nagging sensation in the back of his head. The overseers, he has a meeting with them after this. He's fairly certain he knows what it's about. They've gone completely through the logs. That he's certain of. That he does know. They've been given out to people respectively to look over and analyze. They either want a complete full debriefing or do want advisement on how to handle the wasteland. And this thought does go through his head. Deku going to release the bar that does a slam dunk to the ground and make a loud thud. Him watching the several hundred pounds go to lay there for a second. And he does just go to stand, letting his breath in and breath out. Going to bring up his Pip-Boy and check the time. Before he does, I'll quickly leave and rush down the corridor. getting a quick shower in when he does get back to his residence. Right now, him making his way over and into the public sector. People hustling and bustling about, and some moving out of his way. Them trying to avoid him as Deku does get around a corner and see a pair of bunny ears. Him walking over as Tracy does get a turn, her nodding her head at Deku as she does wait for the elevator. And when the two do to step in, they do make their way down to a further level. It's opening up, them stepping out and greeting a few other people. Before they all do begin to step into a room, and a doctor does get someone sent there. Her turning to two of her assistants who are in the room. And Deku, he does go to take a seat. Chloe making her way over and sitting down on his lap. Her going to wrap her arms around the back of his head and pull him into a kiss. Before her tail does a wrap around his legs, and she does get to talk about it. About how things have been a bit interesting. How's his day been? I've been fine. Overseers still have me on leave. You? I've been helping out and just trying to stay busy. Like the doctor said, with the protocols active, I'm free to. I've mainly been helping the combat classes and doing a few other things. I've been looking into agriculture and it's certainly fun. Though, Miss Mendez, if you could please take your seat. I'm fine right here. This is Izuku. He is my boyfriend. I'm well aware of your unique circumstances, Miss Mendez, but this is a group therapy session. And I'm fairly certain, with how serious our conversation topics may be, this is not a very good topic. Nor is it a good subject to have. Now, I am aware of our circumstances here. All of you are displaced from your families, and you all do feel odd with your situations being spread across decades of time. But rest assured, everything will be alright. I brought you all here today to see and speak about things. Mr. Midoriya, Miss Mendez, and Miss Winters, I would like you three to stay after the session in order to talk with me. The overseers have given approval for something I want you all to be a part of. I see. Well, that does mean quite a bit. Deku bringing his hands up and somewhat stroking his beard. Him running his hands along the trimmed surface of his chin. And he does a lean forwards. Right now, the woman going to express. Now, she is aware that she gave quite a few of them tasks, and she is well aware of some of the reports she's gotten from family members of the people in this room. However, she does hope to start with Victor. Victor was frozen for roughly 80 years, and his file does show that he is 24 years old. He was experimented on for roughly 6 years before the Enclave cryogenically froze him. However, what of his family situation? The man with green scales covering him, he does go to sit back in his chair, still glaring, as he does express. He's trying to deal with the fact that his brother is 80 years old. How does she think he's feeling about that? Along with that, the fact of the matter is, 80 years have passed. Most of the people he knows are dead, or are old. Fact of the matter is, he didn't expect Matthews to become a goddamn overseer. So there is that. Besides, he wanted to kill quite a number of people from the Enclave. He's sure everyone in this room feels the same way. He's been taking your suggestions, and he's been going a few rounds with some of the other people here. Aiden raising his hand, confirming that man has a hell of a right hook. And Deku, he does go to somewhat laugh out. Some people begin to talk a bit as the woman does a turn directly to Deku, asking about him. And Deku does a look up. I've been taking your suggestions. I've been working out and my aggressions... yeah. He's been doing fine, Doctor. Me and Marcy have been monitoring him and, well, training with him has been good. Besides, her wrapping an arm around his neck and going to talk about it, pulling him into her chest. He is a bit of a strength junkie. Half the time they turn around, he's like Grognak the Barbarian. He just keeps trying to pack on more muscle. I mean, look at him. Her tapping him on the chest with her right hand, talking about it. It's not a bad thing, but he definitely does need to chill out. Otherwise, he's practically going to just, well, you know. I get it, Miss Mendez. As for you, I've been training a lot more as well. Trying to keep myself busy, and I've been teaching fighting classes for some of the younger recruits, along with stealth operations and hand-to-hand knife training. It's been interesting, but I am only participating in a minor factor. Yes, I'm aware. Your aggression has been high as of late. My aggression is in control. I'm in check of my anger, Doctor. Miss Mendez, I have reports of you intensifying combat classes and provoking people into fights. It's psychological. People on the surface will tend to try and do that. They'll poke at you and try to get you to be sloppy, make a mistake. I see. Her writing something down before she does go to express, looking back at Deku. And what of Mr. Midoriya? She has heard reports of him being invested in quite a number of combat experiences along with the vault. Now, this is prohibitively off the record, her turning to her assistants. Everyone in the vault does know about the Vault Fight Club. It is in one of the lower levels that I will not name, nor will I give a floor to. But I have had significant reports from medical of some men coming in with intense bodily trauma. I'm assuming one of you is responsible for this. And I would like to say to tone it down. If you all do need to, spar with each other like I did say. But be aware, if I do have to issue it out, I will give you all sedatives in order to control your attitudes for the moment. The overseers have given me official authority over all of your medical records. And if you are fit and ready for combat. While there are gray areas, yes, I will give you that, there is much we still need to go over in order to help you all get over your experiences. You all should be working together. And Miss Pickett, yes, don't do that. I've already made you aware that invasion of privacy like that is not a good thing to do. Sorry. It just happens sometimes. I can hear everyone's thoughts in this room, and, well, I could give you an answer for who did it. I would rather you not. I'm trying to remain unbiased. But you already know. Yes, Miss Pickett, I am well aware of who did it. But, as I've said before, if any of you do wish to get out aggression, either spar with one another, hit the bags, or find a workout routine that does work for you. Or, if you do want to, switch to agriculture or try meditation. Certain other factors that can help relieve your tension and stress. Now, her moving on, talking to a few other people. And Deku, he does a turn seeing Marcy sitting next to him. Her with her leg jumping in place as if it is trying to kick its way through the ground. And he does just get a look around the room. Quite a number of people sitting here. People with horns, tails, scales, and wings. And one woman who is particularly troublesome because of her mutations. The most unexpected thing he's ever seen. A woman with spider legs sitting there, not in a chair. However, he does go to turn away from her quickly. Right now, her with her legs wrapped up underneath herself, as when things do to get over to her, she does go to someone talk. A bit in English accent. Yes, well, doctor, as I've said before, things are particularly complex. 60 years ago, we left for the surface, and members of my team were eliminated. I don't know how I should be feeling about that. I have taken your suggestions, but navigating agricultural sections and technological sections of the vault have been troublesome, given my particular size. Yes, I am quite aware of this, Miss Buar, but it is something that you will have to deal with for some time. Now, I'm glad I could check up on many of you. If you do need me, you may send me a message to the Vault systems. However, until then, you can contact my assistants and they will give a message to me. But please, talk with one another if you do believe you need to. The overseers are going to be trying to wake up some more people, and it would be appreciated if some of you could be there. You may all know each other. And, well, we do not want what happened to happen again. Some people looking down before they do necessarily get up and leave the room. And Deku does get to stay, watching the man with goat horns step through the door, watching a girl who does have moth-like wings and strange antennae on her head step out, watching a man with literal bird wings for arms step out. And, well, he does get to watch a man who does smell like a Yaogwai leave. No, not a man. The mutations have affected her quite intensely. She's just broader. Yeah. A lot like the person Andrea, Miss Foster, who was spliced with a ape. That he can tell. She's got a bit too primal of a personality. And right now, they do all get to somewhat sit there. The therapist walking over and beginning to express. Now, she is hoping that this is all correct. But the overseers wanted her to get the response to certain questions. Go ahead. Now, they wish to activate the GEC systems. They wanted to know locations and places they could go. While we do have our vehicle workshop set up on the surface, things are still complicated as to where they wish to set things up. They are aware that you three have found locations on the surface, and we have been curious about setting up and meeting with the boomers. And I've only been aware that this would be possible with all of you here. You've made deals with wastelanders. Is this all correct? Yes, it is. Mainly, some of the deals we've made have been mine. I've taken it upon myself in order to help us in the region. I am aware. I have been given certain records. Would you mind classifying or explaining some of these deals to me? I can. And I'm quite certain that some of them will be approved and some may be of topic of debate. But once they do go through, the long ramifications of them can be seen. If you would. Deku turning to Marcy, her looking at him and going to express, clearing her throat. Well, they made a deal with people in Vegas and the fort. There is a clinic nearby outside, and it does have someone from the Followers of the Apocalypse. And this is a pre-war organization? Post-war. Are they a cult? No. They are a society of doctors who are doing their best to try to treat people affected by chems and or abuse in the region. They offer many services, including psychological. I see. And your deals? We can discuss that further, but I'm sure with their help, we can become more established. Caps are a currency in the wasteland, and trade is valuable. Pre-war money has no use except for fire, kindling, and, well, it's barely worth anything. Caps are currency. Okay. Any other deals I need to be made aware of? We made a deal with the people at the Van Graffs. They are a family that run a place called the Silver Rush. And this is a gun company. They primarily specialize in energy weapons. I talked about how we can sell them ammo and manufacture weapons for them. And you think this is a good avenue? I think it's a good venture. There are people out there known as the Gun Runners. They have a small factory outside of Vegas. We don't know all their secrets, but we know how to manufacture firearms they don't. We still have schematics from before the war. Along with that, do I even need to start talking about agricultural division? We have frozen embryos of creatures that went extinct. I mean, we have cows and pigs out there. You don't even understand the type of stuff we could do with what's inside this vault. I'm well aware that we can change the world. You don't understand the scale of it. Right now, Chloe going to bring her hand up to calm Deku down. And the doctor does go to note something down as Chloe does express. Izuku is correct. There's a lot that can happen. But there's also the deal they made with people over at Nellis, the boomers, establishing proper trade and doing a lot more. I mean, if they were to give those people chickens, it could change their entire lives. They require a lot in order to stay functioning the way they have been for over 100 years. I mean, they have corn. Imagine if they taught them how to make the biofuel their vault knows how to make. It would do much for them. I mean, they're going to run out of fuel for that bomber eventually. And with what they're using to run it, it will destroy the engine. It will. It really won't last for very long. We can make a better version of their fuel. I'm sure we could, Mr. Midoriya. Is your temper under control once more? Yes. I'm assuming the overseers want us to be involved with the Gek project. Take them out, set them up. That is correct. One Gek is going to be used in order to help with the airport nearby. Help with the airport in the region nearby. Camp Searchlight, as you have said before, is infested with radiation in the air. It was affected by an attack by the Kaiser's Legion. I see. Well then, when we go to the surface, or whenever your group does go to the surface, you'll find people waiting there for you. Everything should be fine. Right now, you'll be given your kit and your gear once more. I do trust that whenever this does go through, the overseers will tell you further about what to do. You are dismissed. Them going to stand and leaving. And the woman, she does go let out a breath and just think about everything. She's accessed their medical records. She's accessed their audio logs. The amount of shit they talk about existing up there terrifies her. And they're about to walk back into the surface world. She knows that she's privileged with the fact that she can stay down here in the public division. But after hearing all the stories, all the things that have happened to these people, they're still functioning. His mental state has improved quite significantly from his first interactions. But she also is concerned about a few other matters. Now, everyone, they are given equipment. Deku, he is given another vault suit. However, this time it is covered in some armor and does come with a hood. Right now, him being given a set of goggles that do come along with it. And he does take the vault suit and immediately go to rip off the sleeves and go to bring up his hands. Him pulling off the hood and just leaving it like that. He'd rather be in something more comfortable. Him going to slide on his old pair of boots and begin to make his way out. He has his 45 and he does have another weapon on his back. Marcy and Chloe do feel similar. The vault suits are certainly interesting. However, Chloe does get to wear a duster over her own. It's the blue color that she can have. And Marcy, she has to wear a white doctor's jacket over her own vault suit. Her quite happy that she has a jacket once more. Right now, they do to head back up to the surface. And when they do to step out, they are met by the overseers talking to quite a number of people. There are vehicles set up, along with the fact that there is a half-belt vertibird right there. It's being built from pieces of their vault, along with the fact that across the floor to the room, they do to see one of the old Enclave's destroyed vertibirds. Much of the stuff is either being used for scrap or salvaged, and that's good. Spirit components are parts that they can use, stuff that can't be replicated just yet. It means quite a bit. And Deku doesn't turn his head, seeing 3 different Jeeps with off-road tires created. And he does even get a turn seeing 5 different dirt bikes. They're bigger and bulkier. The tires are definitely made for it, and the tanks on them, they're wide. Hell, they look like they can tear their way through the desert. Something fierce. And this does intrigue Deku, a grin rolling across his face. It's a beautiful machine. Hell, he wants to hop on it right now and drive till the wheels melt off. That thought going through his mind, before people to turn their heads and snap salutes to the 3. Him approaching forwards and beginning to talk about it. Overseer, him giving a salute as the others do get a look on. As all of you are aware, this is Izuku Midoriya, along with Marcy Winters and Chloe Mendez. They were the team who led the assault on the initial airport. They are also the experts when it does come to the Mojave region. Now, I'm currently turning over command to these 3. These 3 are going to be giving us directions and options as to where we should set up the Gex. This is going to be a very delicate and important matter. Along with that, there is a number of other things we should be doing. Would you 3 like to come up on stage and talk? Him looking to the other 2 as they do get a nod. And right now, they all go to make their way up and begin to talk. Marcy does begin to express, talking about how the region has been affected by radiation. However, it's only affected in mostly small pockets. Areas where radiation was either dumped by pre-war society or by radioactive fauna. Things of this matter. What's going on, however, is the fact that the mutated fauna in the region is more dangerous, along with the raiders and fiends that do exist here. There's gangs as well. But with a significant strike force, they should be no problem. There are some regions that she believes would be good. Someone stepping forwards and expressing, is there any information they should be known beforehand, before they do disembark? Yes, there is. Camp Searchlight is a place infested by ghouls. We've heard about the attack and the residents of the NCR there who were stationed were turned. Most of them have died from exposure. But during our operations, we never encountered them. If we're going to be establishing Camp Searchlight as a proper facility base for the GEC, we all need to be aware of something. When this does get to go off, it will clear radiation. It will do a number of things as well. It's going to destroy matter in the immediate area. Along with that, change quite a bit. The place is going to be odd, and they should maintain a significant distance away from it. I see. Anything else we should be made aware of? Not anything that the Overseer has already explained to you. I don't know much about the GEX systems, but I am aware of its existence and its function. I understand. Mr. Midoriya. Yes, sir? Anything to add to Miss Winter's statements? No, sir. If we're going to be killing things, then that's all I'm here for. However, if we're looking for alternative locations, I'm sure Chloe has one. Deku going to somewhat push her forwards with his left hand, and she does a turn glaring at him. Before she does, I talk about it. If they are talking about establishing a Gek nearby them right now, then she does believe giving a Gek to a significant region would also help. This one is affected by a small amount of radiation. However, it is a good objective for an outpost and even an outreach program with the Khans. The Khans are former allies of Caesar's Legion. People begin to somewhat mutter, and she does get a whistle, gaining their attentions again. Caesar's Legion, as we have said before, is one of the people and factions here in the region. The Khans are smaller, and they were going to ally themselves until they realized the conflict of interest. That is a major problem they do face. They have no allies in the region, and from what we've seen of the NCR and Caesar's Legion, neither are good for the region. We already do have Mr. House established as an ally. The Khans know significant about chem making and medical drugs. Along with that, they are a combative tribe with traditions similar to their own. The area nearby Red Rock Canyon is of significant boon. With its location nearby Quarry Junction, she does believe when they do expand operations further, including wanting to reopen the mine, wanting to reopen the quarry for stone, rock, or materials, it would be a significant boon to have people there, with allies that know the area. That is her main concern. The Khans were good to her, and she spent a significant time among their tribe. They can be trusted. People staring at her, as she does nod her head and go to full silent. And the Overseer does go to express. Right now, him going to make his way over to one of the jeeps about what they're going to be doing. They're going to be taking the small team and heading out to turn on the Gek. They are expecting quite a bit of things to happen. And they do all have radios put inside their vehicles. Those who don't, him holding up a vest, talking about it. They should wear one of these. It does have a radio that should be able to reach the vaults. They're establishing a communication network on the surface world, which should allow them to contact people around the Mojave once it is fully established and up in operation. Everyone began to somewhat mutter to each other, and that it is a bit impressive to Deku. The idea that now they can just use a radio to contact their vault. He almost wants to laugh. But it does somewhat make his expression so sour a bit. Just thinking about how easy it is now. And he does start walking off stage. He does make his way over to the Overseer. Him asking for one in his vest as the man does go to hand it over. Him clipping it on to his vault suit. Him going to put his gun in his holster as he does go to bring his hand up, looking at the magazines that are inside. And the man does get a nod to Deku, giving him a bit of a grin expressing hollow points. Thank you, sir. I'm quite fond of a 45 myself. Alright. Now, you taking one of the bikes? Yes, sir. Where's the Gek at? The Gek is currently in that Jeep. And it is a highly important device. I'm happy that you all could be here for this operation. Deku turning his head, and he does to see his father standing among the crowd. Him going to look at Deku and give him a nod. He's been rather distant from his family. He's well aware of that. Right now, they've just been busy. He's talked to Mia a few other times. He's apologized for that and has even made a promise to get her something from the surface. Right now, however, she is not allowed to be up here. There's still a lot going on. There's still the machine shop that is fabricating parts for new vehicles. The agricultural division that is trying to figure out ways to keep up with a few new processes they've discovered. And the medical research division, who are still trying to go through the data for FEV. And if they should destroy this information. Now, Deku, he does make his way over to one of the bikes. Him bringing his hand down and going to flip the switch. It begin to kick on as it does emit a roar. And Deku, he does go to rev up the engine a bit. People begin to get into order as you do have Chloe. She does it to make her way over. Right now, her climbing onto another bike and turning it on. Her revving it up as she does a give Deku a cheeky grin. Before Deku does a grin right back and Marcy does a climb on his bike. And she does get a hold on tight, whispering something to Deku, who does emit a bit of a laugh and turn to Chloe, sticking out his tongue as she does go to grin right back and go to do the same thing. Right now, people starting their vehicles and beginning to head out. But there is Deku. Deku, he immediately does get to peel off. Him going to pop a wheelie, causing Marcy to jerk. Her holding on tight as Deku does get to roll 50 feet down the runway and then go to hit the brakes. Right now, him popping onto his front tire and spinning the bike around. Him going to land down hard before he's to hit the accelerator again and go to swerve off to the left. And multiple people do to watch him. The moment he peeled off Chloe, she immediately peeled off as well, moving straight to the right to try and head for the exit. And when people saw them coming, no sign of slowing down, they did go to move the barricade they had. Right now, Chloe peeling off forwards as Deku does go to peel off right behind her. And people, they do begin to give chase, making their way over as they do go to leave. And right now, Chloe, she is going to go flying through the air when she has come uphill and landing on the road. Right now, her swerving onto the sand as it does being a kick up behind her. And Deku, he does come up behind her as well. However, when he does come flying through the air, he has a crash onto the sand and nearly go to flip the bike. Him rebalancing it as he does go to stop. And Chloe does it a laugh. Marcy saying some profanities to Deku. And cursing about how that's not funny. I don't know, it's pretty fun. Him revving up the engine again. And when people do come rolling up the road, they do begin to talk about it. About what they're going to be doing. The overseer, he is driving. And he does get to tell them about how they need to get to Camp Searchlight. Right now, it is going to be a short journey. But if they can, they would like to open a patrol and see more of the wasteland. To which Deku does oblige. Right now, him going to turn to Chloe and talk about it. And they do begin to leave, driving down the road and making their way over to the camp. Whenever they do to pull to a stop, Deku does begin to hear his Geiger counter going off. And he does bring his hand up and wave, indicating to the people to keep the vehicles there. And the overseer does begin to step forwards, along with Hasashi and a group of other people armed, all beginning to talk about it. When they do begin to hear the tick of radiation on their Pip-Boy, they do get to talk about it, wanting to figure out what's going on. They heard there would be monsters here, but Deku bringing up his assault rifle and firing it into the air. And it does to cause all of them to turn looking at him, some beginning to hear sounds and a few other things they weren't expecting. And that isn't too bad. Right now, though, he does go to do one simple thing. He does go to bring his hand down with a rifle and hold his pistol, before a creature does come stepping around the corner and they do go to stare at it. It's some person in armor, but their skin. And Chloe does get a shout ghoul, to which the thing does to rush towards them. A large group beginning to come their way. They're scattered. But at the emergence of the dinner bell, they do begin to try and come towards the group of vault dwellers, them firing out at them and beginning to gun them down. Even the overseer, quite surprised at how much damage they can take. However, it's only after a bullet does go through their skull and they are torn to shreds by the gunfire do they really start to stay down. And then there is a glowing one. When it does come shambling over, they all do to stare at it. Its body literally glowing with radioactive material. And when it does begin to approach, the Pip-Boys, they do begin to talk about how the radiation in the area is beginning to spike. And Deku, he does go to stare at that. He's heard of glowing ones before. And it does emit a roar as radiation does spike more. It's going to send out a pulse of radiation directly towards them. And that does surprise Deku. Him going to bring up his pistol and fire at the creature. Right now, Marcy firing a lever action rifle as she has a crash it directly in the knee. And Deku, he does go to rush forwards. Them watching as he does go to do so and throw himself into the actual creature. Him crashing into the sand and pulling out his knife, stabbing it in the skull as it does go to push back against Deku. It trying to push him away, but Deku does have to pull away. The radiation burning into his hands and somewhat scorching his skin. The creature is hot. Deku going to watch as his knife does begin to start melting. And this does piss him off. Him going to begin to pull on his Deathclaw side as his right arm does get to heavily mutate. And whenever it does get to do so, he has a rush forwards. Him grabbing the glowing one's head and going to squeeze. Its head going to pop as Deku, he does go to throw his foot down, crashing into the creature's chest, crushing the heart. Him going to turn and ripping off one of the arms, turning and going to stomp down on the knee, before he does go to twist his foot and make sure it does go to break. Him going to stare down at his hand and going to begin to have it change back. And he does begin to quickly walk away. Marcy asking if he's alright. I'm fine. Though, my knife. Him turning back to the creature. And he does go to watch Marcy rush over and pull it from the sand. It scorched and with glowing blood on it. It emitting a sizzling sound that can only be described as acidic. And she does go to shake her head, talking about it. It can be fixed, but this is her flicking the blood off. Pretty bad. And the people here do to stare at this. watching the casual interaction. I mean, they've never seen creatures like this before. What are these things? Ghouls. Ghouls? What is a ghoul? A human who mutated from radiation, naturally. They've been exposed to too much. Don't know much about them, but if you get exposed to enough, you change. You live longer. And radiation, it begins to start healing you. It takes time, but not a lot of people change into ghouls. Some say ghouls are immortal, but I haven't seen a pre-war ghoul before. I've only met some in our travels. They're not too bad, but they go feral. Eventually. All of them staring on. And it's... yeah. Wow. Okay. No, those were people. Even that thing with the glowing skull and skeleton. What the fuck? And right now, Deku does go to turn to the Overseer, talking about it. About what they can do with the Gek. And the man snap back to and understand. Him beginning to give out orders as they do start to get things set up. And by the time they do get to activate it. Quickly beginning to make their way away from the city. Taking their vehicles and beginning to drive off. And when they do get to make their way to its distance, they do get to stop. Right now, watching as the thing does begin to start emitting a glow. Someone looking through a pair of binoculars and confirming a Gek activation. And it does get to happen. A beam does get to shoot up into the sky. Them watching that as it does begin to emit a noise that can be heard. The mutants do get to hear it first. Then, there is a bright flash. And then there's that smell. There's a strangeness to it. Storm clouds do begin to gather overhead. And the area underneath their feet does start to change. It does start to turn into dirt. This surprising everyone. Deku does stare at the sky. And he does watch his thunderbolts to begin to shoot down and roar. And there's lightning. But what's more, there's actual clouds. And then there is a drop. It does a crash down nearby. Then another. Another and another. One finally going to hit Deku in the face. And then there's where it does start to pour. The area around Camp Searchlight does begin to change. And when it does start to rain, people, they do start to cheer, roaring out for it. It's beautiful. It's incredible. It's chaotic. It's crazy. It's science. And there's the radiation levels. The green tint in the distance is gone. And they return watching as the ground, it's still transmitting into dirt. The sand of the desert. And it's incredible. Now, Deku, he does just gotta stand there in the rain, thinking about quite a bit. Remembering Zion. Remembering everything that went down there. It was a beautiful place. It was a lovely place. And right now he does just feel the water rushing through his hair. It does get wet, it's hot, and then there's a burst of cold wind. It's incredible. It's science, it's nature. It's a change. The sun of the Mojave doesn't feel as hot. It doesn't feel as burnt. And this is incredible. When people begin to learn about this, they're going to want to know more about their vaults. And Deku, he does turn his head, worried that Caesar's Legion is already aware of this. And right now, Kaiser, he does go to confirm that theory. He heard lightning booming in the distance, and when he turned his head from the fort, he saw rain. If he can see it, then he knows the NCR know about it as well. And whenever someone reported in about the Mojave having rain in it, that was a bigger thing. They confirmed a beam shooting up into the sky. They also confirmed this strange noise they heard, and, well, I mean, they didn't know what to say. It was only whenever clouds began to drift their way that people began to realize these reports were true. It's something else. And right now, there is Deku. He does have a lot still running through his mind. They head back to their vaults. And he does just get a shower. He washes the brains off of his hands. He does look at the area and see that his hands are already healing. There's a lot that does go through his mind. Him sitting there in his room with a lot coursing through his brain. Chloe does come walking in. Her talking about their latest adventure and the little game they played. However, right now, she does want to play a new game. And Deku, he does understand. And with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed. Have an amazing day. I'll catch you guys in the next part.